Okay. We are live. Want to welcome everyone. A special live for our boys, Classic and Cincere. Much love to everyone that could make it out this evening. I see Miss Molly came in here early. Hello, Miss Molly. Much love to you. and everyone that's joining us here tonight. My goodness, Charlene Stevens, Sherry Peoples, Mary Martins, Susie Bogus, Lisa, Tracy P., Chai Crimes, Miss Rosie, Larissa Golden, Marley 13, Renaya Rivera. Triple thumbs up for Miss Lisa. Yeah, we're going to keep the boys' names alive. That is the whole point of doing this live. I just came off of another content creators live covering the Desiree Thompson case. Her daughter went missing in 2012. 10 years missing. And guess where she went missing from? California City, California. And so have our boys. Welcome, everyone. Fred Rodriguez, how are you? Dorothy Polk, welcome. Yeah. Desiree Thompson went missing out of California City, California. And I was on content creator Miss V from Make This Go Viral, her channel. Much love to her, covering the case, covering the story, and we're bringing awareness on that story as well. We actually made a phone call to the California Police Department this afternoon in helping the mother make and establish contact with them. She hadn't received an update in about a couple of months. No one's called her in regards to any information concerning a case update. Nothing. And her daughter has been missing for the last 10 years. And they pretty much did the same thing then as they're doing now with Classic and Cincere. And the longer we look in that direction, the more we find out. That is for sure. So we're going to keep looking in that direction because that seems to be a hot spot for something. It appears that way. Hello, Lindsay Lou. Yvonne, welcome. And given the appearance of the fourth kind, as was stated in my previous live, things are not what they appeared to be. People are not taking responsibility for working. It seems so quiet, they tell us, that they're looking and that they're searching and that they're following leads, and still nothing. Still nothing. So it kind of makes you think, what's going on really? What's going on with our boys out there in Bakersfield now that the case has moved from California City in early March of this year, and to date, be the 21st of this month, these boys would have been gone missing for 9 months, just about as long as it takes a woman to have a child. Miss Nay, thank you and welcome. I hope to have a couple of more moderators in this evening's live. We meant to go live last night. Unfortunately, I had a maintenance issue concerning some water. You know how you get that brown water from time to time. They had one of a major pipe bust or broke not too far from where my apartment is. And they had to shut down the water for several hours. And so I had to do some footwork and go out and get some water and get a couple of things from the store too. But they didn't end up taking care of the issue until into the wee hours of into the morning. But that didn't disturb me. I just pushed the live up. So please forgive me for not being here last night. But you know me, if I don't go live the night I'm scheduled to go live, I usually push it up for a good reason. But much love for everyone who came around just to check on me anyway. So tonight we're going to be talking about some very important things. Well, thank you, Jan on the Lamb. That's what this live is all about. Miss Shea works by faith. Much love to you. Jennifer Marie is in the house. Denise Aprecio is in the house. We need to take a look at a couple of things and find out the reason why this case moved from its original spot in California City, California, and then was relocated back to Bakersfield. There is a connection in Bakersfield, and that's what tonight's live is about. I will be joined by some folks that I have invited, but the main invitation I want to send out, if anyone is attached to Facebook and knows Ryan Dean's Facebook page, Miss Preparica, send her a message from John Q saying that we are live and I would love to talk with her. Let's make this an active working live. So if anyone has any connections with Miss Ryan Dean, please let her know John Q would like to have her on the panel tonight. I'm sure she has plenty to say because she is the only one that has been calling and crying and thinking about these boys more so than the adoptive parents. We've seen how they've handled this case. And so I'm going to turn my heart over to Ryan Dean and let her share the platform. If she hears the sound of my voice and one of you can get a message over to her tonight, let her know that this special live I wanted to do for her. I wanted to do for her because she's carried Classic for 9 months, Cincere possibly for 9 months, and she knows what it is to wait that long to have a child. Hawkeye Seneca, welcome. Rhonda Hayes, welcome. And I believe she wants to speak. She wants to let her story be known. She wants us to hear from her side, and in a way that we can all understand what she's been going through. So if anyone has connections on Facebook right now and can instant message her to let her know that John Q is live, let her know that she has a very special invite to my channel tonight to share with us from her heart, her side of the story. And it's not to open up an old wound. It's to actually become empowered by what has happened thus far in this case. And to be empowered in a way, I thank you, Jennifer Marie. If you sent her the link, I certainly hope she gets it. And if anyone sees that Ryan Dean is in the chat, let me know, please. I would like everyone to welcome her if she decides to join. This is about the boys. This is about us coming together and making a motion. A motion that will be felt and a motion that will be heard. On our last live, I had Miss Crenshaw Incorporated on the panel. I've had Steve, AV Watchman, join us on the panel. We've heard from Miss Roro, part of that panel. I continue on inviting content creators on the panel to share their experience with how day after day, week after week, into months, the work that they've put in. And it's all for the boys. And anything attached to the boys would be attached to the biological mother, Miss Ryan Dean. And if we have her up here tonight, briefly, she doesn't have to stay long. She can just share with us her side of the story, maybe a few things as to what she was able to do. That can help us move this case forward. It's hard, I bet. And I am only speaking from someone that's been observing this case since its inception and then covering this case. I bet it's very hard for a mother to miss 2 of her children taken away from her abruptly and then sent off into a system that only further managed to do more damage than good. Never giving her a chance. Thank you, Miss Rosie, for sending her a direct message. Never giving her a chance to actually make any corrections that she was requested to make. Pushing those boys through the system up until they went into an adoption mode. Now, what reasons did they have in order to do that? Did they have Ryan Dean's consent to do that? That's what I would like Ryan Dean to give us an answer to, because 9 times out of 10, I bet you she said no. I bet you she said no. And maybe with better words, deeper words than I may have tonight in regards to that feeling. All we do know is that she wanted her boys back, and she will do everything and anything it takes to get them back. And so tonight, I invite Miss Ryan Dean to my channel, because it'll show us too that she's very serious about getting her boys back. And if there's anything that we can do as content creators following the case to help her to get her boys back, let us put every ounce of energy and power and prayer and faith to move forward in doing just that. In doing just that. I will have some folks join us, but I wanted to extend that invitation for Ryan Dean. She doesn't have to sit up here on an open panel. It'll just be her and I. And she can comfortably talk with me, with us, in regards to her ordeal and her experience for the last 9 months. And she can provide us with some information as to how we can go about helping and assisting her in locating her boys. I believe that they're alive. Yes, Jacqueline and Trezell did something to them. They let them go missing. That's what they did. They confessed it in the interview to the news reporters when they had it on December 22nd. 2 days after the boys went missing, and told us exactly what happened. They showed a neglect, carelessness, and by allowing this case to get 9 months further in time, trying to locate these boys, and nothing has been done in addition to what they've already said to let us know that they cared for the boys enough to be involved in searching for the boys. Now, that's just my opinion, but I know it's different for Ryan Dean on her side of the fence, as it was different for Jacqueline and Trezell on their side of the fence. They are responsible for those boys going missing. How they went missing, was still somewhat puzzled by that. A lot of people think that the boys never made it to California City. I'm beginning to take a look at those possibilities. But in order for us to do that, we'd have to begin stepping backwards into time on when the boys were last seen by anybody. We were just told that one of the relatives in an earlier month saw the boys, but yet that relative hasn't been disclosed as to who they are. So what proof do we have that the boys were ever seen by anyone, whether in California City or now in Bakersfield, California? Ladybug, welcome. And so it is very hard to determine anything solid in this case, and it's been 9 months. Law enforcement seems to be baffled. They get well over 1,000 leads. They've searched 3 other different states. They've issued well over 22 search warrants, doubling in a short period of time, and nothing is turned? Wow. I'm sure they're digging into places that we never thought of. This long, digging into places, perhaps into trafficking, because it makes it appear or seem like if that's part of this case. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. The other 4 children were removed from the household of Jacqueline and Trezell. They're pretty much okay. People know where they are. Why they were isolated away from Classic and Cincere still stands to be answered. Why did they end up having the boys away from the other children on the night of December 21st, going into the Christmas holidays? If they went on vacation, why didn't Classic and Cincere go on vacation as well? Steve and I has studied that video surveillance footage on my channel and his channel. We're looking at all different possibilities as to what we may have seen, what we may have not seen. What we do know is that there is a lot of movement going on, not only in that video surveillance footage, but quietly behind the scenes. There's been movement going on, and it's just not in the right direction. It gives us the appearance that it's not going in the right direction. So tonight, I wanted to send out a special invitation to Miss Ryan Dean. I've never spoken to her. We have to look at this situation through her eyes as to what she may be feeling about the status of where her boys are right now. I heard of no other content creator offer any kind of invite on their channel. Maybe I've missed it. Remy Girl, welcome. Leslie B., thank you for joining us this evening. Nan Pop. Popolowski. Welcome. Mr. and Mrs. Williams, welcome. Evelyn Mead, welcome. Rhonda Holm, welcome. So I wanted to give her a platform, since it's been 9 months, to talk to her any earlier than now would have been somewhat disrespectful. And I can imagine what she went through on her Facebook page of people questioning her and I mean, a whole variety of things. Makes you want to shut the thing down. But I wanted to give her a platform tonight. It will be open to her tonight. If she decides to join me on my platform, we can talk comfortably. She can tell the story. We can listen with an open mind, an open heart. What remedies she may recommend, how we can assist, how we can help, and where we should stand down. She can tell us a lot. So I wanted to give her that opportunity to give to us what we need in order to march forward. It's only fair and it's only right. I know that content creators out here have worked harder than anybody else trying to find information that would lead them closer to where the boys may be. I know I've been working hard on this, been quiet most of the times, but I come right back around the corner and say, okay, it's time to get back out here. Time to keep the boys' names out here. Duty Ron has been doing a fantastic job on his channel. He's been keeping the boys' names alive. Miss Queen Talks Crime has been doing the same. Miss Lady Queen on her channel, the same. Miss Crenshaw Incorporated, the same. AV Watchman on his channel, the same. Real Brooklyn, how you doing? Welcome. Natasha Markovic, welcome. Ian E, All Around Crime, welcome. Tracy Wilson, welcome. All of you. Every time we do go live and the boys' names are mentioned, yes, we stand behind that content creator, whoever they may be, and see what's going on. Get an update. I've been fighting for an update since our last live. I did call Bakersfield Police Department, asked for an update. No call yet. I called KGET News. Still nothing has popped up in regards to an update. Well, they had to contact Bakersfield Police in order to find out when they were going to be able to give an update, for most of you who were part of that live. And so we're still waiting. Well, while we're doing that, we really need to touch base, I believe, with Miss Ryan Dean, the biological mother of Classic and Cincere Pettus. And if Charles wants to join in on the live discussion, that would be great. Because we've been only working on their behalf. We've been only trying to move the story closer as to getting more information. That's all we've been doing. That's all we can do. But by doing so, it lets them know there are people out here in the YouTube community covering the boys, that somebody's working on it, at least. Wouldn't you agree? Type a 1 in the chat room if we're all on the same page tonight. And that will also give me a sound check for the rest of the live. Much love to all those here in the United States that live here, and much love to those abroad from the United States overseas that has been following the case. Thank you so much for joining us again to keeping the boys' names alive, putting out a good word, putting out good vibes, sending out our prayers, our hearts, letting the boys know that we're still here and we still care. And we're not going to stop until something turns, period. Jennifer, Rebecca, welcome. Much love to you for joining us. I see the names over and over and over, and all of you are serious about this case. And that's why I wanted to invite Miss Ryan Dean on tonight's channel, on tonight's live, because hearing from her will only inspire us to dig deeper spiritually in making our connection. And if there's any request or recommendation that she can make to us, that would be great. At least it lets us all know that she's still in play. She's still focused on getting her boys back. We want to help her to get her boys back. Any way, shape, or form. Because I know a mother is missing their children. This wasn't easy for her to go this long without any word from the Bakersfield Police Department, or anybody else for that matter, in giving her an update. We're looking for one. I'm sure she's looking for one. I know it. A lot of us following this case have had sleepless nights thinking about the boys, trying to figure out where we haven't looked yet, where we haven't searched. What other areas can we search? Well, I'll tell you some areas that we can search. I'll tell you where to put the focus. Put the focus on Jacqueline and Cincere West. Just as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. Put it on them. Because those are the ones that we haven't seen. Those are the ones that told us, oh, we want our boys. We named our boys. They belong to us. And all this other stuff. Well, they haven't shown anything, as far as I've seen, anything in the way of concern or passion for searching for the boys. I look for their names on a week-to-week, month-to-month basis. Not anything other than that interview they did. Just the interview. And Ryan Dean had an interview on that day as well. And that woman's heart was broken. She could hardly speak. And she believes that Jacqueline and Cincere did something to those boys. She went all the way to California City once she got word that her sons were missing. Now, if she didn't care, she would have stayed in Bakersfield. Think about it. She would have stayed right where she was. No need to go out there to California. My boys are gone. They've adopted them. There's nothing I can do. No, she went to California City upon getting word that her boys went missing, and she showed up. And that took fortitude, love, and a spiritual connection to move that fast to get there. That's a mother's love. I know she's got it. Far more than Jacqueline Trezell has demonstrated so far. All the rest of the conversation concerning the whereabouts of the boys has just been that, just conversation. We haven't really gotten any news updates as we should have. Whether anyone was re-interviewed. Just everybody's a person of interest. Reminds me of the Summer Wells case. A child goes missing right under the parent's nose. Another one. This time out of Rogersville, Tennessee. Parents were home. Well, one of them were. Well, the grandparents was there too. Grandma was there. Mama was there. And she went missing in broad daylight. The boys went missing in the early part of the evening when the sun was going down in California City, if they ever made it. And I'm starting to believe, more so now than when I first started, that they probably didn't make it to California City. That story that we were told on December 21st by Jacqueline and Cincere West, all a lie. It was an alibi. Because for the police not to even find out how those boys got out of the backyard is very questionable. I tried to show, according to their story, if there was an abduction that took place, how it could have been done. I said to myself, John, if you wanted to go over there to California City at 10717 and snatch 2 kids, how would you do it? I did the same thing in the Summer Wells case in the line of sight. How would you snatch your kid? Where would you go? How confident would you be? What would the risk level be? And when would you do it? And what would you need in place to get it done without anyone seeing you? And I was able to come up with a couple of scenarios. So it is possible, to a degree, that some of the scenarios that I did share brings light to that possibility. If I could sit here on my computer and figure out a way to do it, well, it must have been a piece of cake for the people that were involved who did do it. True Crime with Libby. Welcome. Love, I'm going to drop the link for you, Miss Libby, because we are going to have, I would like to have a discussion tonight because there is a Bakersfield connection. We need to talk about that. We need to apply heat and fire where it belongs. So there's the link, Miss Libby. I would love for you to come up. I know you've been busy with the Summer Wells case. I wanted to give you the opportunity. We're still waiting for Ryan Dean to join us tonight. But in the meantime, we could have another content creator. Also, to a degree, has followed the case, has made commentary on it. And once again, if Ryan Dean does come into the chat, someone help me to identify the name that she's under. I know that she goes by Paprika on Facebook. And I feel that if we give her the opportunity to join us tonight, I would love very much to hear her side of the story. Because all of this is not fair. All of this is not fair. I want to let her know that personally. We are joined by Miss Libby.
Hi there.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm hanging in there. I just got my second dose of the vaccine on Sunday, so I'm a little bit wah wah wah.
Oh my goodness. Oh well, hopefully it's not destabilizing you in any way, shape, or form.
I'm feeling it. I am feeling it a little bit.
Is it a lightheaded feeling, or is it just knowing you got the shot? Is it giving you a different kind of feeling?
Well, my arm really, really hurts, but that's not that big of a deal. But I I have some fatigue.
Ah, okay.
So I don't know. It's better than getting the virus.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Well, I hope that everything stays the way it's supposed to stay, and you stay in good health
Thank you.
and continue with your work on the cases that you've been working on. I wanted you to come up and I guess share some thoughts of yours concerning Classic and Sincere while we wait for Ryan Dean.
Sure. What's frustrating for me, of course, the obvious is that we're coming up on, pretty close to a year since these little boys went missing. And I just don't understand why there hasn't been an arrest someplace. How is it possible that, we're no closer to finding them at this point?
Right,
And I'm not trying to throw shade on law enforcement, but then at the same time, maybe I am a little bit. Maybe I am a little bit because these are two little boys that went missing on the same day, same time, and we have all this sketchiness from the adoptive parents that everyone seems to be able to see, and yet they are flying under the radar. Where are they? Why aren't they talking? Why aren't they begging for the return of those boys?
right. And that's been their attitude since it happened. And it makes you shake your head and wonder, wait a minute, are they behaving in a way adoptive parents ought to behave in searching for their missing children? And the answer is no. I mean, to me, it's no. And to everyone else that's been following the case, absolutely not.
Right.
And that's what creates the suspicion to me of the foul play that's involved.
Mm-hmm. And how can there not be, if that's the case, I don't understand how there isn't enough to bring them in on something, some
Right,
charges.
right. And it's the same thing that's going on with the Summer Wells case.
Mm-hmm.
There you have a
Mm-hmm.
5-year old, that goes missing in broad daylight. She just vanished, and no one seems to know how it's possible for her to have gone from one of her parents that was there, the grandmother that was there, the 3 brothers that were there in broad daylight.
Right. Like, do we really have some boogeyman I mean, is it the same boogeyman that, snatched the West boys up without a trace? No one saw anything. That did the same thing with Summer, with, all the stars just aligned perfectly to where no one knows anything. And that's just, I'm
Right,
not buying it. I'm not buying it. So,
right. Xavier Harrelson, the same
yeah.
thing. Michael Vaughn, the same thing. I mean, they going from state to state, just randomly picking these children up and just taking them away without being seen. It's incredible.
And I know, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. I mean, let's face it, we know all of the stories about the kids who did get snatched up within, like 7 seconds. Um, but In those cases, the parents didn't look shady AF.
Right. Right. To some degree, you just wonder, and for this particular case, concerning Classic and Cincere, this is extraordinary for a case to have gone this long with no updates. It's just an update. If you found something, okay, let us know. Keep it close to the chest like you have been doing, but let us know something to say that you're still working on this. And we're talking about Bakersfield now, Bakersfield, California. And to connect the dots from California City to Bakersfield, there's some people involved. It started in California City where the case opened, and now it's in Bakersfield. So there must be something that's going on in reference to the people that are involved.
John, California City is where they moved to that house. Is that correct?
Right. That 10717 Aspen Avenue.
Okay. Yeah. And that's where a lot of people are thinking, maybe the boys never even made it there.
Right.
And Bakersfield is where they lived in the apartments.
Right. At the Casa Loma apartments. Correct.
So if Bakersfield is taking it over, that's pretty telling, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, big time, and that just recently happened in of this year in March. And so this is what they keep telling us. Let me share it. I'm going to go to screen share so we can begin.
But then they didn't let EquiSearch come out. EquiSearch, whatever. I always say it wrong.
Right. Right. They've been trying to get them out there, according to Duty, Ron. And I guess they're trying to work something out. There's some things that are going on right now with the Bakersfield Police Department out of the DA's office. And there seems to be questionable issues concerning their policies. So that's come to light recently on Steve's channel. He brought that to our attention. And it lets us know that now we can begin to take a look at what the delay may be, because each day that goes by, creates another missing case, creates another shooting, creates just another situation that's going to only occupy the police far more than they're occupied now with the cases that exist on their desk.
So is it some kind of political situation or red tape bullshit? Pardon me.
Yeah, that could be true. That could be true, but that's slowly but surely coming out.
Okay.
And just so that folks can see the screen, this is the distance that I'm sharing between California City and Bakersfield. It is a 1 hour and 9-minute drive, 68 miles in either direction. And I started with the Casa Loma apartments where they came from and zipped over and drew the line right to Aspen Avenue. And this is not too far from the Mojave Desert, where it's desolate. You see? But now, since this case is now moved back to Bakersfield, what did the Bakersfield Police Department know or come to know in regards to taking the case and moving it exclusively back to Bakersfield? And obviously they came out with this news, and I'm going to share with us just their most recent, which was back in June, I believe, their recent report as to what they gave us. This is now September, and we are going into a 9th month. And this is what they told us thus far.
Is Bakersfield Police Chief Greg Terry. Chief, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Good morning.
So let's talk about this. 163 days since the boys were first reported missing in Cal City. Of course, we've talked about this months ago, that your agency, the Bakersfield Police Department, has become the lead agency on this case. 163 days. You're saying the case is not cold. Why?
It is not a cold case. As you can see yesterday from the stats that we released, this is still very much an active case, and we are looking at every possible lead. One of the things about this particular case is 2 young boys, they don't just disappear. They don't just walk away on their own. Something happened at that day or in those days or at that residence. And so we are paying attention to every possible detail about what was reported, how it was reported, what was going on at the time, what had been occurring in the previous days or weeks or months even. So attention to detail is very critical in this case. Yesterday, we released some details to give a little bit of insight into how much we have been doing, but it is very much an active case.
Well, let's go over those numbers one more time. So 170 items seized, 44 search warrants, 16 mass area searches, 3 outside California, and more than 200 tips. These are big numbers. This sounds really impressive. What comes from this?
Every single day, we have a detective dedicated solely to this as a lead investigator, and he's working with a team of experts and analysts, even from other agencies such as the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, technical experts from the FBI. They're diving into every part of the items of evidence, what the statements were, what the just the smallest of details they're looking. So whether it was in a statement, whether it was in an item of evidence, the digital evidence is going to be very important in this case, and we're very much actively searching those items as well.
So the boys were reported missing on December 21st. 163 days ago, they were reported missing. Mm-hmm. Is it possible that, is this something that your department is looking at, that they may have been reported missing on that day, but something could have happened days, weeks, or months prior to that?
The short answer is we don't know what happened to them. And because we don't know, we're looking at everything. We're looking at what was reported, when it was reported, what was going on in the days, weeks, months leading up to that date. Is that the date that they were missing? We just don't know. And because we don't know, we're looking at everything, and we will not stop until we know what happened to these young boys.
You talked about all those little details that your department is looking at. You have a lead investigator that is dedicating his time to this. What have you found? What has the department found in all of these search warrants, items seized, searches, all these tips, 200 tips? What has come from that makes this case go forward?
Leads, little bits of information, a little bit of a breadcrumb from a witness statement, from an item of evidence that gets seized, from a tip that comes in. We're actively and aggressively pursuing every lead. And so the point of going piece by piece and paying attention to the closest and smallest detail in each of those provides leads, provides us another step, provides us a potentially additional evidence to find out what happened.
Can you assure the community that you're moving forward, your department is moving forward in this investigation?
Absolutely. Like I said, we do not know what happened to them, and we're not going to stop until we know.
But there's nothing that has, in those tips and searches, you have been able to find things that have kept this investigation going?
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about what comes next for the department. 163 days. We here at KGT have been counting the days. Mm-hmm. At some point, though, there's going to be a dead end. Whether if you do not find these boys, if we don't know what happens to these boys, there is going to be a dead end. At what point does the department say, you know what, we've used all our resources, we've done absolutely everything that we can to try to find answers, and we can't? At what point do you get to that point?
We'll have to see if we get to that point. We are not at that point. And we are continuing to find little bits of information, enough to keep going, another lead, another location to go search, or another tip that comes in. This has continued over the last 163 days. And like I said, we are committed to finding out the truth about what happened to these young boys.
All right, I got to ask you, because there's a lot of people invested in this case. Mm-hmm. We know of people who have raised money for mm-hmm. a reward to find these missing boys and to search for answers. We know of people who have raised money to put billboards, not just locally, but across the country, saying we need help. We need to find these missing boys. And there's also been groups that have formed to do their own searches, to help the police department, to help other officers going out there. What is the most effective way to get involved? How can people out there in the community that want to do something, how can they get involved in finding these boys?
The most effective way for them to assist us in this search is to provide us information that they have. If they have reason to believe that there's a location that needs to be searched, give us that information. Because one of the things about this coordinated investigation with multiple agencies is we have a lead detective that knows the full scope of everything that we're looking at. And it might be a very important piece of the puzzle. So that information needs to be provided to us. We recognize that there's great interest in this. 2 young boys just disappearing. We want to find out what happened to them, and we will find out. But we don't want people out searching and potentially disturbing or destroying evidence. If you know, or if you have a tip, or if you have information that you think might be important to us, call us so that we can put it with the rest of the pieces that we have to see if it's significant.
Bakersfield Police Chief Greg Terry, thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. And there is the police chief there giving us his June 2nd update as to where they were in the case. That being June, we've passed July, we've passed August, we've just stepped into September. I believe a case update is warranted now from the Bakersfield Police Department in regards to any new developments pertaining to new leads that came in, any new places that they have over the past 2 months searched, any additional search warrants that were issued from the office, just to keep us abreast as to where they have been able to go, how far they've been able to work, and what places that they were able to at least cover in their ongoing investigation. And so with that said, it's only right for us to have that update as far as a status report. And so in my last live, I covered a phone call directly to the Bakersfield Police Department and left my name, John Q, that is, my phone number, contact information, and I've yet to hear back from them. I was told that there was a particular officer that was covering the case as one of the lead investigators, badge number 954. We spoke about in our last live, and he happens to be connected with this case in its investigation. However, on the other side of it, there's also been some other commentary in regards to this particular investigator being on this case. And so I'm wondering if there may be a hindrance because of this particular investigator on the case. But rightfully so, we're still looking at getting an answer from their department, as well as from the news that we called KGET and spoke to them on the phone. And I put in a request to get an update. So we have yet seen anything from them concerning whether Bakersfield is going to be scheduling an update. And so I said, okay, well, I'll go right back out there and get on live again. And maybe we can get Ryan Dean to join us in helping us push our word forward to the Bakersfield Police Department to get an update. That she can do. I know that she can do that. And then yet at the same time, share with us her perspective, how she's feeling, how she's doing, what has she been going through since the boys went missing, and what are some of her recommendations or remedies as to how we can possibly support her in this ongoing effort to keep the boys' names alive, number one, but most importantly, get them found. Because once they find these boys, and I believe that they are alive, once they're able to find them and get them into safety, get them into a healthcare check, and make sure that, you know, they are psychologically sound from being missing for 9 months wherever they are. You know, that's most important. And then the rest can be sorted out with Miss Ryan Dean, trying to make a possible legal effort to recapture her boys out of the adoption phase and back into the biological phase where they belong. That's just my point of view of it.
I think it's preposterous that they haven't reached back out to you yet.
Yeah.
My husband agrees.
Tell your husband I said hello.
He's grilling. He just walked out the door, but I will tell him. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to have bad feelings about law enforcement. I really don't. But it doesn't look right. It just doesn't look right.
Right. Brother Boss Blake, I saw you jump up in here. If you'd like to jump up on our panel, I'm going to drop the link, and you can, I guess, say a few words in reference to your thoughts, being that we're going into a 9th month regarding the boys going missing. No new developments, no new updates. We're all still working hard on this case. And, and I agree with you, Miss Libby. It doesn't make the Bakersfield Police Department appear as though, they're doing anything. I totally agree.
With that, or that honestly, that something is being hidden or they want us to forget about it. I don't know. I mean, that's how it comes across to me. When they are very well aware, I believe, unless they live under a rock, that people still want to know where these boys are and we're not forgetting about them, and then fail to make any statements or answer any questions.
Right.
I mean, what message should we be getting? We're the public, right?
Exactly.
I mean, law enforcement, with all due respect, is paid by public funds.
Mm-hmm.
So do we not have a right to know what's happening when children just vanish?
Right.
I think we do.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
I had a question for you that you might know. I had heard that the other children were taken from the adoptive parents. Is that the case?
From what Police Chief John Walker out of California City had mentioned during a news conference, that the other 4 children were in custody, and that CPS was the ones responsible for taking that responsibility for taking the children and getting them isolated into safety at that time.
And do we know if that's still the case?
At this point, once again, not having an update as to their progress and whether these children moved on to any of the family members or anywhere close to other siblings that they may have. Nothing has been given to us out of that area. So I'm surprised that nothing is even mentioned about it.
This and this, I'm sorry to laugh, but I mean, it's just ridiculous. The kids, I think, are the key. I think kids know something. I think the kids in the Wells case know something.
Yes.
So what's really going on behind the scenes? And it just is driving me crazy.
Yeah, and it's driving not only you crazy, but it's also driving 126 people that's in the chat room right now, and anyone else covering the case on other content creator platforms. It's driving us all crazy. And so I believe that coming out and keeping the boys' names alive and making some noise, because the silence, as I said before, the silence is more suspect than the noise that's being made.
Right.
Absolutely. And if anyone has seen Ryan Dean in the chat, let me know, please. I'm trying to keep an eye on the chat at the same time. And we have Mr. Boss Blake up, ready to join us. Mr. Boss Blake, welcome.
What's going on, John?
You know me, working the cases, bro. How you been?
I feel you. Been all right, man. Just hanging in there, man. It's my first night back to work, but thought I'd take a little time and come up here and chill with you for a moment.
Right. No, I'm very happy that you could join us, and perhaps to date, give us a little bit of your insight as to what you think. Going on 9 months now.
Yeah, it's crazy because if you think about from 2020 up to now, How many kids that done went missing and has never been found is actually becoming a norm like this. I'm not gonna say that word because I don't want to take your strike for that, but you know what I'm saying. And it's the scary part is I heard you and Libby speaking about the police department and their investigation and how it makes them look like they're not doing anything, especially they haven't reached back out to you. They haven't given an update yet since June.
Right.
But I'm just thinking in my head, and this is just being devil's advocate because I had my frustrations as well before it actually even got transferred to Bakersfield. But what if they actually are out there looking? What if they done ran out of leads? And it's just like me and you worked on the Kanika Jenkins case, and we stopped for a minute. Don't mean we wasn't investigating, but you didn't see us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think for them, as just like Libby said, we pretty much pay their salary. We paying them to do a job, and they're not providing answers for us.
This is what I'm saying. Like,
That can be
even
embarrassing to them.
even if they don't have any more leads or what have you, I think we have the right to know that as the public.
Absolutely, I agree. I agree. I'm just speaking on why I feel like they may not. It's because they don't
Mhm.
have nothing for us. That's why.
hmm But why don't they have anything? Because they're not doing anything, or because they legitimately don't have anything? Like, who has questioned the siblings? Where are Jacqueline and Trisselle? Like, where did they go?
Right.
Yeah, I haven't heard too much from them since they found out where they was living at in Bakersfield. And that's a good question. Are those kids still in custody? I have no idea.
Wow.
And that should be a point of focus, especially as quiet as it has been to relocate. That would be us on social media here on YouTube and the YouTube community covering this case, is to find out where they are.
Yeah.
And it seems like we've got some very smart people that are out there that'll do some digging, that will locate them. I mean, they located the grandparents' house on Potomac, and they were able to get out there and show great concern as to the reason, why they weren't out there helping them search. As we saw from Steve A.V. Watchman's video, to where they literally surrounded the house, but got no response at all. Nothing. Steve rode right beside Philip and Cincere West when they were out there walking that dog, possibly named
Mhm.
Chalk, and neither did he give him not one word of encouragement to say thank you for being out here, supporting, looking for the boy. Not a look, not a word, nothing. They were just walking the streets like if they were, a part of a gang with walking sticks, dressed all in black from head to toe.
This is the question that I have, and I don't know if this has been answered by anyone involved in this case. When they went to take those kids to their grandparents on the 19th, didn't they say they stopped and went into a store? And if I'm pretty sure this store is a known store that probably 9 times out of 10 got surveillance. Did anybody hear about that?
No, I didn't hear about that.
I know from what was said, they went to go get one of the kids a gift or some of the kids a gift in a store, and before they actually dropped them off to the grandparents, or it could have been after they dropped them off. Either way, they should have had those kids with them, at least the two. Of course, we don't see them get in the truck or the van when they left, so maybe not. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
But that would show something. That would give a lead. Okay, they didn't have these kids when they went to that store, or they had all the kids when they went to that store. You feel what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes, I do. And that would make sense. That would absolutely make sense because, at least, from what I looked at on the 21st, and then what I saw based on the 19th, them having four boys getting into that white van in broad daylight at 11:33, and then making that U-turn out of the driveway and headed back toward 108 so they can connect to Proctor Boulevard to get out of California City to hit the main route back to Bakersfield during that time. The boys weren't with them. When they came back empty-handed. The boys weren't with them. So that
They didn't
tells
even
me
have no
that
bags.
Jacqueline and Trezelle's story is bogus, period.
So that brings you to the question. I asked that question for a reason. Isn't that enough to make them suspects? Even though we know they said they have no suspects in this case. But when you lie about one simple thing, to me, that makes you a suspect in my eyes.
Yes. And likewise. And I'm sure Miss Libby on her channel most likely said the same thing. Said, wait a minute. We've had the interview room with Chris Madonna and a team. Greg Cooper was a part of that. Dean Johnson out of the Cold Case Foundation was a part of that. And they studied that news conference that Jacqueline and Trezelle did. And there was just so much to say about it, even on law enforcement's part. Just as they disseminated the information from the Summer Wells case concerning Donald Wells and Candace Bly, same thing came out of there. A lot of hesitancy, a lot of suspiciousness, a lot of half-truths, no truths, just some very suspicious behavior during the course of that interview. I mean, yeah, why isn't law enforcement, I'm going back to Libby's question, why hasn't law enforcement grabbed these people and really twisted their arm about where those boys went that day or that night, or whether the boys was ever in California City, period? I'm sure they declined a lie detector test because, as Chief John Walker said, they offered it, but we don't know whether they had accepted it. But then again, not hearing anything from it tells me that they declined. Are we still good?
I was just reading the chat here.
Okay.
Rosie said child endangerment, child neglect, lying to law enforcement, impeding investigation, ... The list goes on. Why?
Right.
Why aren't they holding them upside down and shaking their pockets out or something? I don't know. They need to do something.
Exactly. And, if they did, you wonder what they would tell them now. 9 months later, you wonder if their story changed 9 months later. Will they say the same thing they said then at that news conference 9 months later now? You see, and that would be rightfully justified to bring them in and re-interview them based upon that statement that was made not only to the news, but to California City Police Department when they were able to be interviewed privately by them. But yet we haven't heard anything pertaining to any new interviews. I was looking for out of all the lists that they had down there with the search warrants in the 3 states that they presumably searched, allegedly searched, where were the new interviews? Where were the new interviews for the people that they feel in some way, shape, or form were involved? What happened to Boss? He blipped out?
Yeah, he fell. I didn't push him.
Okay. No, I know you didn't. You're not like that.
No.
I'll drop that link again just in case Boss wants to jump up here. I know that there's another content creator that has been spending some time on the boys, sharing from time to time information on the case. I believe it was Lady Queen. If she's in the chat room, I don't think we've seen any sign of Ryan Dean yet, but I'm hoping and praying that she joins us tonight just to share a little bit of what she can without tipping her hand or regarding anything. Okay, we got Boss Blake back. What you doing over there? You pushing buttons, Boss Blake? You pushing buttons over there, brother?
Man, you're wrong.
I know you multitask over there, so when your fingers start moving, hitting buttons and doing editing and engineering music and stuff like that, I do the same thing over here. Sometimes I think there were a couple of times I knocked myself out of my own chat.
Yeah, I done seen that happen to a friend of mine. Yeah, that was my fault.
Yeah, no, not a problem. But yeah, where are the new interviews? We're the new interviews. I'm sure that not only us, but I'm sure that Ryan Dean would want to know if they were re-interviewed again.
And what about
Yeah,
mainstream media? Are they talking about the boys? I don't watch the news. I watch YouTube, but
I
Yes.
believe that actually the boys was on what's that investigation show called?
oh, that was recent, wasn't it?
Was that
Yeah.
John Walsh?
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Were
it
they
was.
on John Walsh? I think Court TV had a piece on them too.
I think it was on not America's Most Wanted. What was that show? I can't remember what. I seen it on TV.
Well, what came out of that?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Wow.
Nothing. I mean, they just as clueless as, and I hate to say it like that, but they only got the information that's provided them by no law enforcement and what they see on YouTube. And to be honest with you, I think they see more from us than anybody.
Right. I mean, there were rumors out on social media pertaining to, Ryan Dean being pregnant again, and all that personal noise that's out there. And tonight's live is not about her personal issues with what she's got going on right now. Tonight's live is about her two sons, her biological sons, Classic and Cincere, and that's the reason why I wanted to extend the invitation, hoping that she would take the liberty of sharing with us some of the things that she's been going through, concerning what happened and some of the things that, she's trying to work on to try to get her boys back, because obviously she wants them back.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. I mean, she put it out there. She put it out there hard, and she put it out there deep, and it was emotional.
I think it was a correction in your chat. It was said that Jacqueline supposedly is pregnant.
Oh, okay.
I got a question.
Okay, Libby, go ahead.
How does someone know that Jacqueline's pregnant, but we can't even find Jacqueline or get Jacqueline to make a statement about him missing children? I'm just saying.
Good question. Mm-hmm.
And how, y'all, we can't even find out if the damn dog's name is Chalk, or if they were playing with chalk on the sidewalk. Something that simple. We can't get an answer to.
Hey, that might be a very key part of this case when he said they was outside playing with chalk. You know what I'm saying?
Because if it was a dog, the dog would have barked.
You would think that, but dog is back there and somebody comes close to that gate, or them kids go to that gate, that dog would have went with them. You feel what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely. My dog's bark wind blows. I don't know. And that's the same thing as with Summer's case. I'm sorry to bring it up again, but these people just don't make any sense. All the stars aligned that one day, and the 13 dogs weren't around to bark at someone trying to snatch Summer.
Right.
Any sense?
Right. And when you study human behavior, when you study the moves that these people are making and the moves they're not making, it also tells you a lot about what's happening with them. And in this case, when you have children that have been missing going on 9 months now, and not a word, especially from the adoptive parents that put out that story on December 21st, it's incredible to see, nothing has come from that. Even though they acted like they cared, acted like they were concerned. But you have to take a look at the behavior. What you do speaks so loud. What you say, I can't understand sometimes, is the way I look at it from them. But I wanted to put up a copyright disclaimer. I want to share some pictures. When I do this, before I share any materials, content from the internet, even from other content creators, I'd like to put up this disclaimer. And hopefully, if I can remember where I got some of this from, most of it is from the news, but other content creators as well has been following this case. I look to give you credit. You already have the credit. You've been following this story. There's nothing to take away from you, but only to add to you from my platform. And I stand by that. And if there are any issues pertaining to any material that I share on my platform, my email is in the description box. We can communicate with each other. And if I need to come back and make any corrections or any information that may have had a misinterpretation or misjudgment, I'll be the first one back on my platform and say so. With that said, we need to locate them. We need to find out where Trezell and Jacqueline are. I believe that if we focus our attention in the YouTube community covering this case, it's two people that the boys were with last that we know of. I believe that we can get some kind of answer, some kind of result in doing so. They came out with a story that was so far-fetched, so twisted, and unsupported by law enforcement in this picture. We'll never forget it because it's ingrained in our heads and our hearts as to what they told the American people, not only here in the United States, but people abroad following this case. We need to find out and locate where they are. Once we do that, then we can methodically plan certain things in reference to getting a response from them. Jacqueline has been extremely hard to find because that's the way she wants it. Trezell, the same thing. But you can run, but you can't hide. And if we get enough content creators along with subscribers to this case up in this corner to locate where they are, we'll find them. We'll find them. And if we begin to make moves right now on doing so, we could find them in a very short order because there's no place to run on planet Earth.
I agree. I just want to ask one question. I got to drop down and close this building out. But the camera that was in that window, I'm pretty sure I think Steve was the one who spotted it. Could have been someone else. I wonder if that camera ever been confiscated that was in their house in California City. Did you remember seeing that camera?
The one that he took a close-up of that was sticking to the window that had that looked like a UBS line.
Yes. Yeah, I wonder if that was ever investigated and checked into, because you never know if it was actually pointing on the side where they said the kids went out, right?
Right. Well, Ms. Crenshaw Incorporated on the last live that we had done did mention that a lot of their digital equipment, telephones, computers, laptops, tablets, anything electronic that was taken by the Bakersfield police investigators and not by California City Police. So they have had this information since the time they were called into the case. And this was back in December of 2020. That's what she was able to share with us. Right. Okay, Miss Libby. Well, thank you for jumping up and joining us on tonight's live. Much love to you. And if any of you that are unfamiliar with Miss Libby's channel, please subscribe to her channel. She is covering a lot of the different cases, especially the Summer Wells case, as it develops on a day-to-day basis. She does an excellent job, and she'll make you think. She asks the right questions, and some of the answers that come out, as far-fetched as some of the answers that have been coming out, are starting to show up in a more solid way and in the real world. So much love to you, Miss Libby. Thank you for joining us. And Miss Ryan Dean, if you're still open to that invitation, I will drop the link again. Please join us. Once again, I cannot emphasize enough that I really wanted to do this live with you on board. I believe that your story needs to be told. Your story needs to be heard and understood. And that way we can start to blow away the fog of any misconception that's out there that's taking your name, your family name, the wrong way. And I believe it's time. 9 months is long enough. And I think that you can tell the story like no one can, and it'll help us to go and focus our attention on the people that were responsible for the boys going missing anyway. And that is right before us right now. And that's Cincere and Jacqueline West. And if we head in that direction and they know that we're coming, we'll get to see some movement. Who knows? They may show up in a store with video surveillance footage of where they've been shopping to eat, where they've been shopping for clothes. If they are in the care of any one of the relatives that they are hiding behind right now, we'll find them. Like I said, they have no place to go on planet Earth. As long as we stay on the story and keep the boys' names alive, we'll also keep a focus on them as well. Just give me a moment. Oh, okay. Very good. We have another content creator backstage. I love the communication that I have with content creators because they believe in the work that I do. I believe in the work that they do. Mr. Boss Blake and I have been running together since the Kanika Jenkins case. He just recently did something special for Kanika, I believe either yesterday or the day before. If you're not subscribed to Boss Blake, you'll want to check out that piece that he did. It's in commemoration of going on 4 years. Matter of fact, the 9th of this month and a few short days from now, that she went missing and then was found in a hotel commercial kitchen freezer in the back of the Crown Plaza Hotel in Rosemont, Illinois. I want to bring on Miss Queen Talks Crime, content creator covering this case as well as a number of different cases. We've done a collaboration already on the Summer Wells case, and I wanted to invite her up to share with us some of her insight on some of the things that she was able to come across in the case. Miss Queen?
Hey, how you doing? Yep, I hear
Hey.
you. Can you hear me?
Yes, you're just getting in?
Yeah, just getting in and just doing stuff around the house. You know, we've been searching for Summer Wells these last 2 days, so just getting in, getting
Right.
situated.
Well, Mr. Boss Blake is on the panel with us. He's another content creator covering different stories like yourself and staying abroad with connecting with people on his channel. He's in the music field. He's an engineer, and he's done
Okay.
wonders for my intro.
Mm,
So
that's good.
that was Mr. Boss Blake who did that intro for it. Matter of fact, Let me
Well,
just do this real quick.
congratulations.
This is what he was able to put together for me. I didn't play it tonight because I just wanted to jump up here, but this is a little bit of his work.
Oh, shoot. I
Cue
like
the truth.
that. That is right. I love that.
Yeah, so he's been working hard to complement a lot of the work that I've been able to do on this case. But now that you're on the panel, you could share with us, I guess, some of your insight as to what you've been able to cover while we continue to wait for Ryan Dean to join us here on the panel to share with us her story. So, Miss Queen, welcome.
Thank you. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to everybody on John's chat that is subscribed to John. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to Boss Man. Shout out to everybody on the panel. Shout out to everybody that was on the panel that left True Crime with Libby. Shout out to everybody that's, in for the fight with the boys. I mean, shoot, I was when Classic and Cecile first became missing in the very beginning. I mean, I covered a lot. I covered a lot on Giselle, Jacqueline. I covered the other children, their family, the family as a setting. Giselle's family, they're kind of weird. It's just a lot of things that just don't add up in that case. And it's not really too much about Jacqueline, but little stuff that we do know is weird as well. It's just a lot of things that don't add up with them. So I've covered a lot from the beginning to the end.
Right.
Definitely.
Right. What do you think about the behaviors of the adoptive parents not being seen, not being heard? There's no new searches going on with them. In fact, they seem to have gone missing like Classic and Cincere went missing.
Yeah, it's very suspicious, but I do feel like they have something to hide. Even that one interview that they did, they really didn't even want to do that. They've been wanting to be in the backstage in the dark. They don't want to show their face. They don't want to talk. They don't want to do no interviews. They don't want to show us pictures of the boys. They don't want to do anything. So that tells you a lot about them. It goes to who they are. They're sneaky type people that's hiding something, and that's just what I've always felt about them. That they've done something to these children.
Right. Yes, I agree. And, in looking at any one of these cases that we do investigate, the victimology regarding the boys is the first step toward understanding not only who they are, where they came from, but also the suspectology of who they were around during the time they went missing, at the time they went missing. And for two full-grown adults in their 30s, having 6 children, tips a hand.
Yeah.
They
That's
are
not
they
normal.
are the youngest. They are the youngest parents I've seen with 6 children in multiple age groups, all under 10, just about, to take on such a heavy parental responsibility and then allow this to happen.
See, John, that lets you know that goes to, we know that's not normal for them to have under 30, two parents under 30, or just hitting 30 with all these kids. We know it goes to some type of financial stability here. And
Mhm.
that's just something that I feel personally, that it's the money is why this was happening. But also, I wanted to say, oh Lord, I hope it didn't just slip my man. But darn, I lost my train of thought. I was gonna tell you something and I just lost it.
That's
It'll come
okay.
back
It'll
to
come
me.
back to
It'll
you.
come back
Yes, it
to me.
will.
I got so much in my brain. Go ahead.
I know the
It's
feeling.
so much. Oh,
I
it's just
know
so
the
much in there.
feeling when you've
So much
got
in
your mind, when your mind is racing on so many different questions, so many different parts, so many different pieces moving at the same time.
Oh,
There you go.
it came back to me. There you go. Oh, so when you was talking about the boys and how they was um how we haven't seen no evidence of before the date that they was called, that they went missing. We haven't seen nothing, no evidence that they even had the boys prior to them going missing. What you
Right.
think about that?
Right. No, we were just talking about that moments ago, pertaining to the video surveillance footage that Steve was able to capture of the 4 children that was able to get into the white van on the 19th at 11:33 a.m. that morning and left for Bakersfield. So it obsoletes the story that was told to us at the news conference, because it appears as though that Jacqueline and Trezell didn't have Classic and Sincere on the 19th.
Correct.
And the police actually saw that. So again, that should make them a suspect. I don't think
Exactly.
they haven't applied enough pressure to Jacqueline and Trezell. They feel like they just let them get away. And I don't want to say with murder because
I'm
I
just
think
gonna I'm just gonna take this phone call real quick. Go ahead and talk.
okay. But the simple fact that there's a couple of things that just don't add up according to what they told us and told the police, than what we found out later on. So why in Sam Hill had they not pulled them in? Of course, they can deny a polygraph test all they want to. It's gonna make them look more guilty anyway. But you gotta apply pressure, especially when they're backed against the ropes. That's when people tend to break. And I don't feel like they're doing anything to do that. So that's just my opinion on it. Uh-oh, look like somebody else. Oh, there she goes. I'm talking. I thought you was gone.
No, I'm sorry. I actually hit the wrong button. But now I
Hey,
was
I did the
listening to
same
you.
thing. I did the same thing earlier.
Damn. Okay. So I know what you're saying makes sense. Yeah. It's all these red flags that and it looks crazy on Bakersfield because y'all see that they didn't have these boys prior to reporting them missing. What have y'all done about that? Y'all say they're cooperating, then they tell us that they're cooperating, but have y'all re-interviewed them? Have y'all re-interrogated them? Have y'all re-had them sit down and drill them about these children? We don't know. They're not telling us anything.
I had to take a call too, just like John.
No, you
Okay.
fine. Yeah, they
Yeah.
not telling us anything. And that's what makes them look crazy because that is a big red flag of what you said. They noticed that they seen they didn't have those boys. They only had 4 kids in their
Right.
possession, and none of them looked little as the little 2 and 3 year old that they supposedly have had.
And then when they said they was in the backyard when they ran the dogs said that they couldn't find their scent. That's another red flag. You know what I'm saying? And then
Exactly.
if they gave them the dog something to sniff, they could have gave them some old clothes, some old toys that came with them from Bakersfield. Doesn't necessarily mean that they were in that house. You feel what I'm saying? That's just
Yep.
my opinion on it.
Yeah. Or it could have been the boys wasn't around that the other kids' items too, and they could have got the smell off of the other kids' items because they was
Right.
probably around it in the past before they moved to Cal City. But I don't even think the boys made it to Cal City as deep as we are now, and there's no evidence that the boys were ever in that house in Cal City. I just don't think they made it.
Well, if they didn't, I don't know.
That's a good point. That's a very good point that you bring up. Who's to say whether law enforcement had Classic and Sincere's clothes in order to grab the scent from the boys and start to travel the house, only to find that that scent could have been any one of the other boys. And that's why the dogs got stuck in the house rather than go anywhere near or outside that gate area. So you bring up a very good, valid point.
Yep,
A
that's
very good
correct.
point.
Hmm.
Agreed.
Yeah. So what do we do now? Except for stay on Bakersfield. I mean,
Right.
it's like, what do we do?
Well, Miss Crenshaw Incorporated was going to be sending me a template,
Okay.
something simple that we can put in an email to send out to the authorities out in Bakersfield, as well as the DA's office, that seems to have a policy case going on right now with the Bakersfield Police Department in reference to some of their policies being violated by a number of police officers. So I figured if we strike when the iron's hot and start to get the attention of the DA's office as well as the Attorney General's office, to let them know that we haven't received an update on the boys yet, and we were wondering when that update was coming, if there had been any new interviews, any new searches, things of that nature, and put some pressure on there.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
That's
definitely we're gonna stay on Bakersfield, but it's just a lot of things that don't make sense. But I do believe that they know something because it's been what, 9 months, 10 months?
Yeah, going on 9 months. The 21st of this month.
Okay. So we're going on 9 months. So don't you think that phone records and phone pings have already came in and
Oh
evidence?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
especially
So
on the digital equipment that they got back in December 2020. Gail, I'll check that email in a moment, dear. I'm just multitasking right now. I appreciate you sending the pictures, and for us to find out a little bit more about Officer 954. Ms. Crenshaw did bring that to my attention in regards to that being one of the investigators of the Bakersfield Police Department that's been handling this case. And he seems to have been exonerated from a number of complaints regarding his behavior and activities pertaining to his work as a police officer.
mm,
So, that at least gives us a pinpointed target to begin focusing our attention on. But collectively, if we can do this and we can send out an email, to them to get their attention, keeping a paperwork or keeping a paper trail on what we're doing, CC copying Ms. Crenshaw will only help her in what she's been able to make headway on. Will also support her efforts in handling the case from a different direction while we handle the case from an entirely different direction as well. So if we're going to be approaching this, we're coming at it from multiple directions until we get the attention that we deserve. And that's an update. That's all we're
exactly.
looking for anyway.
Yep, that's it. That's all. I would like to hear what happened with Ryan Dean and the boys, how they even got in this situation. I would love to hear speak about that. on anything that was unjust by the CPS workers. I would love to
Yes, I
hear
would
what she
love
had
to hear
to
that
say,
too.
how they fell into Trezelle and Jacqueline's hands. I would love to hear that. Um, because it's nothing like hearing it from the actual person that it happened to. We hear the news media and what they say, but what really happened, you know?
Right, right. And that was the reason I extended the invitation to Ryan Dean in reference to coming on the platform and sharing, from her perspective, as it happened to her, what she was feeling in regards to how she was able to deal with the situation concerning, her boys going missing. The adoptive parents weren't being responsible, and what she's been able to do, if anything, from her standpoint, to try to get move herself towards getting justice for her children being taken away from her by CPS.
Right. And then on top of she will know more firsthand because CPS, obviously because they're minors, they're not gonna give us the full 411 on what happened, but Ryan could, you know what I'm saying? She could tell us what
Exactly.
actually happened. So
Right.
yeah, that would be very, very informative.
Yeah, no gag order on her, but now if she's lawyered up quietly to where she's not allowed to speak on behalf of the case due to the fact that she may have something in motion already pertaining to CPS and the case involvement there, then we can understand her reasons for being quiet. But outside of that, she can at least let us know that she's okay. She's getting her life together, or her life has been coming together because of this, and she's been preparing herself to dive into this in a different way from her side.
Okay.
That in and of itself would be great.
DMV baby, you said Crenshaw explained how the boys got to the Dr. Monster several times. That's fine, but I would love to hear from Ryan Dean herself. It's
Yeah,
nothing like hearing from the horse's mouth, baby. That's what I'm saying.
absolutely,
I want to hear from her. That's all.
absolutely. So yeah, keeping our eyes on the uh, the case in a different way, complementing each other while making moves and making things happen on our side. I mean, all we're looking to do is basically support anything moving forward. That's
Exactly.
Ryan Dean moving forward. That's Bakersfield Police Department moving forward. That's you know anything to get this case out of its position in limbo. So
Mm-hmm.
so here we have Ryan Dean, the biological mother of Classic and Cincere, on the day that she did the news interview in regards to saying that Jacqueline and Trezelle did something to her children, and that she believed that they were in and around that area somewhere, but where? When that place in and around that area, as much as we've been told, had been searched, not only with tracker dogs and cadaver dogs, but also equipment that was flown in uh, from the office of the FBI, along with Bakersfield investigators. And so, from her standpoint, taking a look at all of this unfolding at the time of this interview, she was totally overwhelmed. She had
Hold
no
on,
word.
John. Hold on, John.
Yeah,
DMV said Ryan doesn't owe anyone anything. Nobody's saying she owed nobody anything. So you're taking it negatively, and you all the way wrong with how you implying that people just want to hear her side.
yeah,
So calm down with all that negative she don't owe us nothing. We know that. We would like to hear her story if she wants to say something.
Right. And DMV, to some degree, you're right. She don't have to tell us anything. She doesn't even have to say a word to us. As I said, if she is making moves with an attorney, and it's advisable from her attorney not to say anything on behalf of the case, that we can get, but she can at least let us know that she's doing okay, that she's doing better, that she was able to grow from this situation in a way that made her stronger. Those little things on a personal level, she could at least make contact with us, since we are all out here, fighting for justice for her boys. So I, to some degree, DMV, you put a point out there, but we have to keep a light shining on our side as the case came to us, to at least ask, because if we don't ask, then she feels that we're isolating ourselves away from her because we've got personal thoughts against her for some strange reason for losing the boys in the first place. And that's not true. And well, for most of us handling the case and covering the case, that's not true.
Mm-hmm.
You see?
Exactly, Tanya. Exactly.
But
Exactly,
it would be
Tanya.
great. But it would be great to hear from her, like you said, and I'm sure Boss Blake would agree, to actually hear her voice and feel in some way, shape, or form that what we're doing, at least somebody can step up and say,
Yeah, it's
something,
nothing
I
like
appreciate y'all.
yeah, it's nothing like the person that been through it telling it.
Right. Yeah.
There's nothing like hearing them give it X, Y, and Z and hear their emotions and things they're saying. It's nothing like that. Nothing. That's all.
Right. And that's all we want, because I feel that if we can come together collectively as a unit, and we've got, that endorsement from Crenshaw, we have that endorsement from Steve, AV Watchman, AV News, Miss Roro. So we're starting to get the positive endorsements to say, yes, we can work together. And those content creators that do get along and do support other content creators covering the case, we're starting to gain momentum. And as long as my channel is still in place, I'm going to call the content creators out. I'm going to single out the content creators to know which ones can work together and can help move this case positively in a different direction until we can get an update. And to do it and make sure that we're doing it for the right reasons, I'd like to give Ryan Dean that credit, because she is the biological mother of both those children.
Everybody not gonna see it, the way you know what I'm saying. Everybody ain't gonna understand it and see the way you
Right.
think, see things,
Right. Exactly.
So we just gonna keep it
Exactly.
pushing.
and
We
and
gonna
I
keep it
expect that.
pushing.
And yeah, I mean, we're keeping it real. We're keeping it real, and I do expect some pushback on that, because everyone has come to this case with an entirely different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
sir.
So that's why I can respect the comment that DMV made in regards to she don't have to say nothing, and rightfully so. She doesn't. I don't want people up in my business. They already twisted my name all up in some toilet bowl somewhere, and tried to ruin my reputation, as saying that they want justice for my boys, but yet they're trashing me. I get it. But I want her to know from John Q's platform, and the content creators that John Q connects with, that that's not true for this channel. That we want to do something for her that's positive. And if we can do something together with her endorsement, then it's only going to help her down the road somewhere, because she can turn around and say, hey, it's not just me. I've got a whole bunch of supporters behind me that want me to get my kids back, and I intend to do so. And that will give her spiritual fortitude to move forward.
Mm-hmm. Where Boss Blake go? He dropped off.
He did?
Oh, I don't see him.
I don't, yeah, I
Maybe
know
I'm
that he
too.
was at, I know that he was at work. He said that he was just going to
Oh
spend
yeah, 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 yeah. He
a few
was.
moments with us to share his thoughts. And Brother Boss Blake, much love to you if you're still listening to the live. And it's good to hear from everyone, you know, especially now, 9 months, going into 9 months now, as to, you know, what everyone's feeling is about this case. You see how booming the chat is. And I did take a look at a couple of those pictures, Gail, and they are kind of fuzzy. If I try to put it up on the screen, I'd have to blow it up, and then that would distort it even more. So I'm going to see if I can enhance those pictures that you sent me first. And once I have them enhanced, then I can show them properly to give a better perspective as to, you know, what we're looking at. Because I like to see things, and if I can't see it, then I look to enhance certain things for better clarity. We've heard from Police Chief John Walker during the early time of this investigation, and he called foul play almost a week
Mhm.
after the investigation started. And I wanted to know what he meant by that. And he said it in just a simple sentence. We don't know how those boys got out of the yard without someone assisting them out of that yard. That was the key phrase he made at not only this conference, but a one-on-one interview with Brian Wang from ABC. I think it was ABC 27 or 12 out there in California during the time he was there. And I said, okay, well, he's at least coming forward with something to say that he believes that there's some kind of foul play involved. What, we don't know. But I'm beginning to see the foul play that he was talking about, whether the boys ever made it there to California City because of what happened, of what we saw happen on the 19th. And I think that's what he was alluding to.
Mhm.
He said, we didn't see all 6 kids on the 19th get in that van to go to Bakersfield, so where are the other 2 kids? No one on the block could positively identify Classic and Cincere up close because they never got up close, or they weren't allowed to get up close due to COVID, allegedly. As Trezell mentioned during that interview, we definitely don't want them out here, you know, because of COVID, but they were out in your backyard. Why did you decide to put them in the backyard? Because it was easy to put them closer to the gate that he left open. So if the gate's left open and I took my eyes off them, that's how they went missing. That's what he told us. That's exactly what he told us. And so hence, how did they go missing if they weren't even with you the 19th?
They been gone.
Yeah. So Trezell straight up lied. Rosie, no, I didn't see the. Oh, yes. In fact, I believe the interview that you're talking about that Steve had done at the Casa Loma Apartments is when they had, I think, 4 children, but they were barely seen. Somebody wants me to drop the link. New York, you want me to drop the link for you? Or someone in the chat that needs the link? New York says, yes, please. Okay, New York. I'll come back and drop the link. I'm going to check you out first because we don't take no porn bombs in the chat. I had that done once and I said to myself, okay, we'll just check it out before we lay it out. Link is in the chat. New York. And if this is Ryan Dean coming up, you'd have to show your face to me first, and then you can go back to incognito. Because that's the only way I'm going to let you on. If you're able to do that, great. Just for 2 seconds, quick ID, and then I'll allow you to join myself and Miss Queen. Well, that's good. You're not here for porno. Okay, good. We're here for the boys. Okay, is there any way that you can show your face on the camera for me real quick to let me know that you're a person? If you can do that. Okay, very good. Okay. We'll let you on, Miss New York. Ready? Here we go.
You
We
can hear
have
me, right?
Miss New York in the house.
How are you
Yes. Welcome.
doing? Thank
We're
you.
doing
Thank you.
good.
Good.
We-
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you for not
Um,
being thank you for being you and not something else.
Oh yeah. Listen, that's all I can be. I'm always only me. You know what I mean? That's all I can
Right.
be. But
So
yep, no, definitely. But I understand why you have to check everybody out because all the nonsense that goes on. So I totally get it. I just wanted to come up and
yes.
obviously thank you for covering the boys. The attention and all that is needed to the case. We don't want this to get forgotten, so we always appreciate that. And just kind of reiterate like that to the crowd and the people watching, because it is very important that everybody stays mindful of the facts, because we can go off onto theories all day long. I work a few different cases, other cases with missing children as well. And when you get away from the facts, that's when everybody gets lost. And the people who are really responsible, they get very happy when you get away from the actual, factual information. So like
I agree.
what you were just covering, saying, hey, listen, where are these parents? Where are the adopted parents? Where are they? They're gone. They up and disappeared. They lawyered up. We know that's a fact, right? They came home on the 19th with no children. We have footage of a backyard. We can't forget that. And we don't have any boys leaving that backyard. We don't have any cars or random people taking 2 toddlers. I mean, I think any parent in this chat already knows what time it is when you have 2 different toddlers at that age, how hard it is to scoop them up with no noise and a whole dog outside.
Right.
I mean, let's be realistic here too. I don't want to go off onto like fabricating some crazy story and making things make sense. No, make things make sense, but with the facts that you have. We have 2 adoptive parents. I mean, what are their ages? 30 and 34 when they went missing? They got
Right.
6 kids and they got no job. When you have a crime,
Right.
you follow the money. But what happens when you can't find money?
When you
Think
can't
about
find
it.
money, right.
Think of
When
it,
you
right.
can't find
So-
money, they had to go out and find money, and they found money
Right. It's money
possibly
that's not on
using
the
the
books.
foster care system. Yeah, right.
But it's
Well-
money that's not on the books, just like the same money that they had to borrow, right? With that loan that
Allegedly,
everybody saw.
Trezell had a job. Allegedly, at the beginning, Trezell had a job. I gotta go back to my videos, but he was working with some company, but he stopped working. It was a reason why he stopped working. I can't remember, but yeah, allegedly he was working for some company. I don't know.
Wasn't he doing security at one
Yeah, there
point
you go. It was
for a short time?
something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah,
Okay.
but he stopped. And
All right, so he had his little security job. He got 6 kids. He got a brand new house, but he just stopped working. I know I'm in New York and everything like that, but I think I could speak for everybody. When you just buy a home, you don't just stop working, even if times are rough, right? And I'm not saying I know their circumstance or anything like that, but overall, they're not financially in the best position. They have 6 children. They're young, right?
Mm-hmm.
We do know that. And we have 2 babies. And these 2 specific babies are biological brothers who don't return home on the 19th and who just disappear, like poof, in the air, gone, see you later. Like nobody knows what happens. And we have footage. It's clean cut. We have footage. Nobody stole those kids.
Exactly. Exactly.
And let me
And
tell you
then,
something. If somebody stole my children, or a matter of fact, my neighbor's children, I could be watching my neighbor's child, right? Because he's playing with my son, and his kid goes missing in my backyard. I'm going to be giving updates. I'm going to be all over the damn news. I don't give a shit what you say about me. I'm just going to say what I have to say. And I'm going to show that I care. You know, the public, I'm always going to have hatred and love, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, when you genuinely care about something, especially a child, then none of that matters. Now, I want to bring something to your attention too, which I know we all saw, is look at Jamal Watkins when he wrote those 2 statements that he wrote. Now, I want you guys to put yourself in the position if you were Trezell and Jacqueline. Now, I don't care what kind of problems I have with my family, right? Now, if my son went missing, I wouldn't be able to speak probably. Or I'd just be screaming, right? Whatever. Everybody handles things differently, I guess. Okay, we'll give them that. We'll try to be fair here. Now, with that being said, though, let's say my mother or my brother or somebody had to write a letter on my behalf or the family's behalf where it went public in any sort of way. My mom would call me up and say, listen, you know, honey, like, this is what I did. This is what I put in there. Like, is that all right? Or maybe she would just write it for me. The last thing my family would do is detach themselves from me by putting at the end of each letter that they put publicly and say, this is not a statement on behalf of the biological family. He detached himself publicly on purpose from the from not the biological, I'm sorry, the adopted, I correct myself, the adoptive parents. He detached himself from his own brother in that statement. Think about it. If your brother wrote a statement publicly on your missing kid, would he write that? Who even thinks to write that?
right.
Who the fact that you even thought to put that at the end of the statement.
Right. He also mentioned too that in one of those statements that he had, people who were investigating behind the scenes, and that anybody that had any information pertaining to the family at that time, they are to speak with the investigators, like he was doing some screening for the people that were that had questions. And I found that kind of odd to say, well, he's screening people now.
I mean, you have to remember who he thinks he is and who he is in the community and how and what he does. Listen, Jamal's the only one in the family who has something to lose, and he probably wants to choke his brother for even being in this position. So let's you know what I mean? He doesn't want
exactly.
To
well, he's got a major platform,
right.
out in Washington, D.C. And for him not to be able to use that platform, I think it was the NAACP group or something like that, not to use that platform to get the word out, I found that kind of strange.
Let me tell you something. I have family members that work in certain systems, and if this was their grandchild, their nephew, or anything like that, they'd use every resource, and we don't give a shit. Like, I mean, come on, there is no line at that point. I mean, I think as a whole, their jobs would come together. Everybody would contribute. This would just be it wouldn't even be something that was discussed or a question. But regardless, forget about Jamal. We have Jacqueline, we have Trezell, we have 2 people who have 2 kids disappear. The story makes no sense. I mean, he acts like he's reading somebody a bedtime story that went bad. That's how he sounds.
Right. And for the grandparents that once lived on Potomac to have just up and left, you find that suspicious as well. No commentary.
The grandparents on Potomac up and left.
Yeah, Philip and Wanda West, the folks that I have up on the screen.
They moved. You know that
nothing,
for a fact?
From what Miss Crenshaw Incorporated and Steve, AV Watchman, LV United We Stand. These are boots on the ground that was in and around that neighborhood. Only found them to, either temporarily up and leave or just relocate altogether because they had some kind of fear that they were being harassed.
Well, if Crenshaw said that, then I'll co-sign it if she said that. But otherwise, I don't know what anybody else said. But
right. Well, I'm sticking to the source as to where I'm getting the information from, and that's boots on the ground people.
She checks her sources and she checks what
she does.
I don't know if they permanently left or if they just went away for a little while. I would assume they probably did, get out of town for a little bit. Whatever it is, it is. But at the end of the day, what I want to bring attention to, and I think the public really needs to start focusing on, is where's Jacqueline's family? Has anybody done research? Because I have. And I have facts, I have proof, and people need to start looking in the direction.
And that's what I said earlier. I said,
Yep.
we need to focus on the adoptive parents, find out where they are, and begin turning up the heat.
Yeah, I mean, all
Because
this,
that way we get some movement.
exactly. And you have to think about it too, like this. Like, you want to know how two kids just up and disappear? The same way that Jacqueline's family remained under the radar with this much attention on the case. It's not their first
Right.
rodeo.
Yeah, and you know something, in the way they're behaving, I find that more and more each time I look at this case to be the truth, because now we're kissing on 9 months, the 21st of this month, and for this case not to have any kind of movement,
Right.
no updates, and no one speaking out on it, but content creators on YouTube, it's absurd.
Well, what was more absurd is like the time that was wasted on the fabricated narratives of the Bio family has the kids. That was the most annoying thing to me. Like, I honestly, because I work on this case daily. I'm up all night sometimes on this case, and this, I'm going to tell you right now, it literally caused distraction from what was actually going on. And it's sad because a lot of times this he said, she said shit and all these like people just with the drama on the pages, whatever it is, they can cause a lot of problems. And what people don't realize is the damage that you're doing is, if somebody actually sees these kids, what if they don't report it because they're like, oh, they're with the Bio family?
Right.
You got to watch what you say. These are two kids. I know people like to just troll and, oh, I'm bored tonight, so let me turn on YouTube and watch. Well, these are people's real lives. They have to live this. These are really two kids that are missing. So you could have caused somebody not to report seeing them because you're putting out a narrative that has you can't even support it. You couldn't support that narrative. You couldn't even give me one fact. Somebody show me a fact that's bullshit. It's straight bullshit. It was made up and it was caused by, I guess, whatever, LV and them, those people. That bullshit. And I don't care. I'll say it. Like, I don't care. Like that's what it is. It was caused. It was a bunch of drama that literally caused a narrative to be put out there that could have potentially hurt these kids. And that's terrible. People need to
What
think
was
before
the
they cause
narrative?
drama.
I never heard of what was the narrative?
The narrative was that the Bio family had these children.
Ah.
Right. But nobody had a fact to support that. Not
Right.
one. Not one. You couldn't show me one thing that supported that. Not
So
even
if there's
something
any-
that remotely supports that.
So if there's any place to look, we have to look back, not at places that we haven't really
Look
been
at the people
isolated.
that are
Exactly.
able to
That was
disappear.
going to be my point.
But look at the people that are able to disappear and that have hid this whole time under the radar, just like two missing children. That's where you need to look. You got the West family speaking out, right? You got Jamal probably embarrassed. He wants to kill his brother because he put him on his whole ass out there. Then you got Wanda, who, she probably knows what's up with her son because everybody knows when their own kid's lying. Let's be real. And then you have Jacqueline. Does anybody know anything about Jacqueline? Anybody know her background? Anybody know about her mom fostering a bunch of kids over the years, and her sister and her cousin and her other cousin and all her titis and all that? Does anybody know that? Because I do. And they've ran that business for a long time.
Well, hence they have a model then. They knew
So
exactly what they were doing.
Is that none of them spoke out? I mean, she didn't even claim her daughter when they were ripping Cherry apart. And everybody's showing up to Cherry's house saying, you're her mom. And she's going, no, I'm not. I mean, you don't even claim your own kid.
And that's interesting you bring that up, because now you begin to take a look at a profile, Jacqueline's profile. And from what I was able to gather from just looking at the individuals that are involved, it's Jacqueline has a shady background. Trezell, a shady background. And then you have to ask yourself, how does two people end up adopting kids, or even foster care for that matter, be able to be qualified to do so without having a solid background as CPS under the adoption agency, which is involved in this case, scrutinize people to have a good solid background, to have a good solid income, to have the kind of household that they would feel would be an excellent placement for boys this age, for children this age, more or less anything else. But yet at the same time, we find out on the back end of it, because 2 boys went missing, that the story starts to fall apart when you take a look at Jacqueline and Trezell all of a sudden. And then you start to do your background work on them. And then you say, how the hell did they get these boys to begin with?
And the best part, exactly. And what you just said is everything, because how those boys were taken to begin with means a lot too, because they weren't taken the right way. The process wasn't done correctly. The time frame that is supposed to be given to a parent and the certain steps that are supposed to be taken was not done properly within the system. So from
Right,
day
I've heard
one,
that.
this wasn't handled correctly from the beginning, from before they even got their hands on these children. But it seems that the Martinez, Vasquez, Cano, Ricones, whatever you want to call them, family, they get their hands on a lot of children.
Wow.
So, and this is their family, and they have a very large family in many states.
Well, you figure people who don't have TV would have a large family. You figure.
What do you mean they don't have TV?
That was a silent joke.
Oh.
You figure if you
Okay.
don't have something to watch, what else are you going to do with your time, right?
Yeah, well, listen, I'm going to tell you right now that, Jacqueline's whole family, the information's there, guys. I've been in your chat before. I've literally given damn near down to their mother's maiden name to everybody so that you guys have those facts and the chat has them, because it's not about me trying to steal a narrative. It's about, I'm just reiterating what the facts are. And the facts are pretty damn strong. And how we even steered away from that at one point is sad. And people just need to be mindful that this is not something we can just go running off and thinking. Well, you can think whatever you want. You don't have to like somebody. You don't have to like what they've done or how they live or anything. You don't have to like anything about them. But that's besides the point. Are we here to find 2 kids or not? You're not going to agree. If this happened to me and you were to dig on my whole family, shit, you could probably rip us apart too. And not with anything with children, but just in general, like, oh, this one, like 5 years ago, he was in trouble for, something stupid, whatever. Like, people are going to find shit on anybody's family. You're going to find that everywhere. So you could sit here and you could go on this way and that way, but you're getting away from the facts. When you start to get into that rabbit hole, you have to go back to the facts. You have to backtrack and go through everything.
Right. And so when I take a look at a case like this, I look at where it started and where it's going to end. And it started with Jacqueline and Trezell, and guess what? It's going to end with them too, because they're the ones that exactly. They're the ones that are responsible for these boys going missing to begin with. And if we can find out as much as we can, and I've got my email in the description box down below. You can email me if you find out where they are. Email it to me.
What do you mean if I find out where they are? Jacqueline and Trezell?
Yeah, Jacqueline, Trezell, anyone connected.
And I'm just going to be straightforward with you. I'll release stuff with permission of, who I work with and who I work for. With permission, right. I will release it. Otherwise, I'm here for the boys, not for a show or anything. Right. Not saying that you are, but I'm just saying with the damage that the public has done with the theories and the stolen narratives, we are getting back on track and we're moving. Trust me,
right.
We're moving.
Exactly.
We got receipts. I'm not just saying things, and I don't care how anybody feels about it. But
right.
before you say anything about me or anybody who says what I'm saying, just remember, there's facts. There's a whole book of facts right there for you. How you came up with this narrative, that's just because I don't know. Some people just, they just go off their own way and they don't know. But that's okay. You're going to always have that. It's just sad when people use their, panels and stuff to let people come up and run that narrative. And then you could potentially be putting out bad information with zero facts to support that. And, hurting these kids out there. Somebody may not report it. Now that is different.
Right.
If
And
you
I
don't
agree
have
with you.
anything solid, you should not be doing that.
Exactly. And I agree with you fully. This case is nothing to play with. And, when speaking to Miss Crenshaw, speaking to Steve, speaking to Miss Roro, I've had them on my platform. If you need to run my name past them to get some background, do
I
so.
only run my name, anybody's name past the, about three people, and only one person runs a panel, and it's not it's not about that. Again, if I get permission, then we can share. But right now
Yeah.
we have to protect the integrity of the case, just like the
Right.
cops do. So
And-
that's what we're
and
doing.
I'm with you on that. So Miss Crenshaw was going to email me a template, to get things moving so that we can use that template to begin a paper trail to get emails going out to law enforcement and their superiors all the way up the food chain to get some kind of movement from the Bakersfield Police Department in reference to giving us an update. That would be one good solid move with paperwork CC'd directly to Crenshaw so that this way it will give her ammunition going forward on some of the case areas that she's working in currently right now.
Yeah, no, I support her all the way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And anything that she does, because she checks her stuff. She doesn't air stuff. She corrects things. If something's wrong, she has no problem getting on somebody's live and correcting it, because again, the viewers do matter. It could be detrimental to a case if you have half the people watching thinking these kids are somewhere that they're not off of an opinion, so she has her heart into the case. So if she sees something incorrect, or she's going to be able to assist in any way so that other people who are running the panel who are on the East Coast can support in the right way without, again, it's not us telling you what to do. It's saying, hey, here's facts. This is why, this is what's going on, and whatever. And she's all about facts. So, I recommend that you do work with her.
Right. And I figured that once we're able to find out the locations of where they are, that information can now be turned over to the Bakersfield Police Department, giving them a possible new
The
lead.
Bakersfield Police Department knows exactly where Jacqueline and Trezell are. They're not fugitives. They're not on the run. This is an open investigation. So because it's an open investigation with 2 missing children that had federal involvement, there is no way in hell that they don't know where they are. It's just that they're hiding from the public. Now, I was always taught something when I was younger from my dad. I'm just going to say it because it's a really good skill. Let people think they got it. When we find out where they are, we may not be airing them out because we want them to feel comfortable in their new space to do as they please.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to just air it out, because why air it out? Then they're going to run again, and then you could have possibly sat back and watched what you needed.
Right. But collaborating with Ms. Crenshaw, not to take any information that we are able to obtain and air it out, we would fact check it, with the people.
No doubt about it. I'm just talking about their location.
Yeah.
Obviously it depends and who finds it. And hopefully if somebody does find that information, they take that directly to Roe out of respect.
Right.
Out of
Right.
respect,
Yeah, I
out
agree.
of respect
I
alone.
agree.
Take that to Roe. She's on the ground. She's working this every day. She's out there. I know Ryan is going through a lot, and it's a lot. You know what I mean? So, but Roe is a part of the, you know what I'm saying? Like, unfortunately, she has to hear a lot of the drama, and we want to keep all that from her because there's a lot on her plate, and people need to be mindful of that too and stop being selfish. And there's a lot on her plate. But I would suggest that if anybody does find out where they are, let's say they know where they are, or they think they know where they are, I suggest you bring it to the family as you would treat it how you'd want to be treated if that was your family.
Exactly. And that's exactly the connection that.
Because that's some badass karma if you're going to be doing some shiesty shit with 2 kids. I'll tell you that right now.
That was what Roro had mentioned on my platform the last time she was on with Miss Crenshaw and Steve in regards to how heavy her plate is. And she's got a lot of responsibility, not only for her family, but going to school and staying with that and living her life and still have to, do the things that she was doing before the boys went missing.
Listen, salute to her. Straight like that.
No,
salute to
heavy
her.
salute. Yeah, much love to her because, a lot of this information, when it comes to boots on the ground, wouldn't have really gotten to us at all if we just left it up to, where it is now with the Bakersfield Police Department.
Yep, no doubt about it. And honestly, I give her credit because I couldn't conduct myself in the respectful, classy manner that she holds herself in half the time with the shit that people put on her. I'd probably be calling everybody all types of names, and you'd think I was a whole dirtbag because I give her so much credit because I don't know how she does it, and it takes some real strength to do what she does.
Yeah, I agree. I fully agree. But that's what we wanted to do tonight was to invite Ryan Dean up to the platform to share whatever she wanted to share, just to let us know that,
Did you talk
she
to her?
I have not. I was looking to make
Yeah,
some
I
kind
don't
of
know if
contact
she's
with
gonna
her.
just jump on a platform, without knowing somebody and speaking to them privately. I know what you're saying, and your intentions, I guess, you know what I mean, are probably good and everything. But
Right.
she,
But I
she's
wanted
been
to
through
put that
a
out
lot.
there. Oh yeah, I can imagine. But I wanted to
So
put it out there. Like I said, my email will be connected to the in the description box underneath the live. And if she wanted to gander at tonight's live to see what it was all about, at least she'll have that information. And if she wanted to reach out to me via email first and felt in any way, shape, or form that she needed to get comfortable with me in order to
yeah, I would assume
say
so because
anything,
after
yeah,
what she's been
it
through
would
and
only
what the
make
public
sense.
tried doing a few months ago and all that crap, I would, yeah, I would definitely, if anybody wanted to, I personally, if I would reach out to her first and see if she's comfortable. If you don't get a response, then you have your answer. And I kind of don't blame her because I'm going to be honest with you. After everything she's been through, and this is no disrespect to you at all, I wouldn't be getting on anybody's panel that I didn't know, let alone probably any panel.
Absolutely.
Because I
And
would
I'm
almost
sure.
feel like that people made a show out of my life. And after trying to switch that narrative, it was probably the most disrespectful thing on top of the hurt she was already going through. So I wouldn't even entertain panels.
Right.
But I'm just speaking from my own opinion. I can't speak for her.
No, I appreciate that.
But I would just, so, and again, no disrespect to you or your panel because you're covering the boys. And if you're working with Crenshaw, listen, I'm here. I support you too then. But at the end of the day, that's all I could think of. I'm just thinking, putting myself in her shoes.
Yeah, and we have to do that. And we have to do that from
Yeah,
that
we all have
perspective
to.
because
We all have to
if
start
we
doing
don't, then we're looking at things backwards, and that's not the right way to look at this particular case. Everything that happened, from what we've been told, is real. It happened and affected the lives of those people that are involved, which is real. And I
People
look
ask
at the
stupid
biological
questions.
mother first.
People just say stupid shit like, "Oh, what did Brian do?" or "Why was this?" or "What does that matter?" Does it matter? Does it affect anything to find these kids? What you think or what you think or whatever. Does it even matter? No, you got two kids. They were last seen with these two. There's footage. They don't show kids on the footage, either on the 19th coming home or on the 21st going missing. There's no cars picking up kids. There's no people picking up kids. And you can tell me some guys running down the block with two children under each arm? Get the hell out of here, man. Come on. like what are we really talking about? So
Right.
So what you feel about Ryan is irrelevant.
Exactly, because in no way, shape, or form does that information move us any closer to finding out where the boys
And
are.
she wasn't the last person with these children. As a matter of fact, she was the first person, one of the first to roll up and say, you did something. Just as any one of us would have.
Precisely. That's what she said on her news conference, that she felt that Jacqueline and Giselle did something to her kids when she was out there in California City.
Right. So, so everybody who doesn't like, that's fine. You don't have to like her. You don't have to. Nobody's saying, listen, are you here for the boys or not? Because nobody cares about how you feel about her. That's irrelevant. Go talk to your husband about that. Like, nobody cares. Like, what we care about is these kids. And Ryan doesn't have to prove herself to anybody because she's been through enough. And when the truth does come out, people are going to be floored and they're going to sit back and go, wow. Don't judge. Don't be so quick to judge people.
Exactly.
But
I mean,
the
you
facts
know,
are the
we're
facts. She doesn't have any ties to this, these kids being with her or her family having any involvement or Rose's family. So with that being said, since there is no facts to support any of that shit, people need to cut it out with their narratives that they make up.
yeah, but that's starting to die down now. Thank goodness, that the
Yeah, I
people
mean,
that,
the more that you guys
were,
cover the right stuff, the more that it does die down. And I appreciate that, because that's what, unfortunately, the damage control and the cleanup, it does take a little bit.
yeah, it does take a while. And I knew that going into this case myself. And I said, well, what we have to do is have the stamina and the endurance to get way past that BS that's been put out there from other content creators that had no business trying to handle this case and wasn't serious about it anyway, to just move on to something else. They have appeared to move on to something else, which is good, and let them stay the hell where they are, because they did nothing but put in, and Steve said it on my last live too, that there was a content creator that did more damage directly to him because of their involvement in this case. And I stand behind what Steve stands for, because number one, he was there since day one, boots on the ground, giving us information we would have never gotten from anybody had they not been there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So I got much love for the creators that I am connecting with, have connected with, and will continue to make connections with, because I have a good feeling that the people that are lined up can make a difference in this case. And Miss New York, if you're still with me, I think she dropped off. But Miss New York, you have my email. It'll be in the description box. Get in contact with me so that this way we can continue to stay connected, and maybe we can move forward with something that Miss Crenshaw is doing, Steve is doing, Miss Roro is doing, to connect certain pieces that we can make a move on. But I truly appreciate you coming up on the panel. Miss Queen, are you still here?
I am still here. I'm just
Okay.
listening, observing things.
Okay.
Observing things.
But yes, any closing comments that you may have for tonight's live that you'd like to offer the chat room?
No. Mm-mm.
Other
No.
than justice for the boys.
Justice for the boys. Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Are you going to be going live later on or tomorrow? Are you just going to take it easy tonight?
Tomorrow. Probably
Yeah.
tomorrow, because I've been boots on the ground with the Summerwell case.
Right.
But yes, I will be probably doing a live real soon on this. It's time.
Good.
Mhm.
Good, because I figured that if we can piggyback off each other and get the boys, get their names consistently being put out there. I know that Steve was working on a piece just recently. AB was working on a piece just a couple of weeks ago. He's been working to keep the boys' names out there. Believe there was mentioned of a couple of other content creators still working on it. Miss Lady Queen, you yourself, myself, and I believe if we can just have a role of consistently keeping the boys' names out there. Duty Ron, for the most part, has been keeping the boys' names out there, and that's what it's all about until we can find little ways that we can make an impact.
Yeah, it's about these kids, and my viewpoints are a little bit different. I look at it from how I look at it, Summerwell's case. Everybody's a person of interest. Everybody should be looked at. I believe the same for this case. Until Classic SSC is found, everybody's a person of interest. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how I look at it. So I have a different viewpoint. But yeah, I respect everybody's opinions and their thought process for sure.
Right. And for the folks that, for Boss Blake that came up, Miss New York that came up, Miss Libby that came up on the platform, thank you so much for your time and your contribution to tonight's live. I do look forward to making some kind of contact with Ryan Dean myself. If we have to, go take the slow boat to China, that's fine with me, because I'm here for her and here for the boys. So with that said, I'm going to get ready to close out tonight's chat. I want to thank everyone for joining us. And we still have a candle lit. We still have a prayer said for the boys, Classic and Cincere. We're still working this case, and we intend to stay on this case until we find out not only what happened, but hopefully, just hopefully, we find out where they are and we can get them back safely and have them get the health care check that they need and be around the people that truly want to be with them, love them, care for them, and bless them with a better life. They have a hard road to travel if they are found well and alive. And so they're going to need all the support that they can get from the people, boots on the ground, as well as the content creators that stand in support of their efforts to find out where these boys are.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Much love to all 112.
Shout out to your moderator. Shout out to your moderator.
And shout out to Miss Leslie B, Miss Nay, for moderating tonight. We didn't hit too much turbulence in the chat room, but we got some good people. We got some good people that surround this case and click on to my channel and to protect the integrity of what we're looking to do, what we discuss, and hopefully make a great effort in getting something done that's different, something unique and unusual, but very blessed, and that can only come from the people that support what we're doing. And so far, I'm in good company.
That's good.
You
do great work, John. You do great work. Keep it up.
Yeah, well, thank you. And much love to you, because you on your side, you do awesome work. I like your commentary. It's bold, it's crisp, it's new. You put it on the table. You always question things, double question things, and then play devil's advocate to find out more answers. And that's one thing I do enjoy about your channel and how you handle your material.
Yep, and I'm gonna continue to do that. Always, for sure.
That I know for sure. I know for sure. But anyway, folks, we're going to wrap it up. As I've always said in my wrap-ups, we say a prayer, we keep a candle on for the boys, and we make the connections that we need to make with those people that are serious about finding out where our boys are. We want them home. We're doing everything that we can on our side to help bring them home. And yes, I have to fully agree with what Miss New York said. We have to do it in a way that doesn't compromise our efforts going forward.
100%.
All right.
1,000.
All right. So let's throw some hearts up in the chat room to let the world know that we're making a march forward. We got prayer hands and hearts in closing tonight's special live covering Classic and Cincere. We want our boys
and y'all
home.
keep calling BPD. Keep calling.
Yeah, definitely keep calling them and let them know that we're moving in their direction, and we're just going to stay in that direction until we get an update.
100%.
Exactly. So yes, flood the chat room with hearts and prayers. My heart and love goes out to all that support this channel, Miss Queen's channel, Miss Lady Queen's channel, Crenshaw Incorporated's channel, AV Watchman Steve's channel, AV News, their channel for covering the boys. Miss Rowe, we send hearts, prayers, and love to you and your family for having the courage and the strength to keep us all focused firmly on working to find out where the boys are. I believe the storm regarding this case is over, and it's only filtered down to the real people that can possibly get something done. I'm glad to be a part of that. And as I said, I'm in good company. All right. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all for your time. That's right. The Bakersfield Police Department's telephone number, 661-327-7111. Just give them a call. You're there just to get an update. Nothing more, nothing else. Just to put a bug in their ear that people are calling and calling and calling and calling until somebody's ears ring, until it gets to the right person. That's how we'll play that hand going forward. With that said, once again, much love to everyone. Take care. Stay well. Stay blessed. With Godspeed. I'm John Q. Until next time, we'll have an update on the Summer Wells case very soon, very shortly, and then we'll swing right back around the corner and cover more information as we get it concerning our boys, Classic and Cincere. God bless everyone. Take care. Thank you, Miss Queen, for joining me tonight.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.